Ronaldo Cephas, Jonathan Russell, Richard King. It's time to assess these three players on the Reggae Radar. And this is no joking thing because me have on my shirt, so the one you go work, kaboom!
This is the radar, Reggae Radar, tracking players from your Anna Brown. Come take a watch, see your Premier 7, red 3 balance with 3 can. Red up with the top star, yellow off the balance on the back. Green with the soldier, but if step up we reach far. This just show you double war, none at all. Exist to raise the bar, live many sparks there. No serious but the ball, then move on one way. Better stay far. Can't start when we are start. I feel aim for reach a star. I feel aim for reach a star.
Greetings and welcome to the Reggae Radar, a segment on Premier 7 where I will be rating three players with three cards. Red for the one who is on fire, yellow for the one who is holding it steady, and green for the player who is off the pace. I mean, this is all about Ronaldo Cephas, Jonathan Russell, and Richard King, based on how they played in the Unity Cup finals against Nigeria. And I have to say that as a Jamaican fan, I was very much impressed with the progress of the national team, seeing that, yes, we managed to draw against Nigeria 2-2, and I can understand that it wasn't their best team. It wasn't our best team either. But from that game at the GTEC Stadium, I have that belief then that Jamaica have what it takes to reach further and further, making it to the World Cup and also progressing thereafter. Because then again, we saw that some players made their debut, and I was absolutely in that mindset of focus that I was able to watch the game and also was focused enough to look on the areas that Jamaica needs to improve, but never forget the fact that Jamaica is making progress. So, with no further ado, I just want to say to you then that if you are new to Premier 7, I have 1,917 subscribers, as you can see above. So if you're new, please go ahead and subscribe. And if you are already a subscriber, then you know what to do. I want to hit that 2K mark, so I'm on the road to achieve such massive thing. So I know that you guys do have your own players of preference based on the Unity Cup. Some of you guys would go for a Kayem Dixon who played really well for his age. Some would go for like a Mason Holgate because I saw that he was holding the ship steady, and others do have their preferences. But for me, I decided to go for the names listed: the Ronaldo Cephas, the Jonathan Russell, and the Richard King. So let me just kick things off right now talking about Ronaldo Cephas. This is the second episode, and I want to let you know that Ronaldo Cephas, he has been featured on the program Reggae Radar yet again. But which one of the cards did he receive? I have my notes here, so you will be seeing my head going down and up, but I have to ensure that I am doing the assessment quite well, because on Premier 7, it's all about being fair. It's all about being assessing the players in a way that doesn't show bias, but also speak the truth and help them to improve going forward. So for me, Ronaldo Cephas, he had a better game against Nigeria. I did not saw any cases whereas he was wasteful, in the sense that he was making any wasteful pass, or he was making some stepovers that doesn't look up to par. He was more so on the go. He was more so keeping the balance of the team. He was more so making use of his strength, that is the pace. And I heard other persons say before that Ronaldo Cephas is a player that could play for a team differently from where he is in Turkey. So, I mean, he looked sharp. He looks like he was in the game. He looks like he had something to prove, and it was executed quite well. So, I'm going to go through the criteria about the player. So, the impact score of a Ronaldo Cephas from the previous one is an improvement. I give him an 8 out of a 10. To be playing against Nigeria, who I saw that was better than us based on physicality, based on pace, based on experience, Ronaldo Cephas stepped up to the plate. And he was the person who made the assist to a Kaim Dixon, 1-1, the equalizer. In the 63rd minute, again, he was the person who made the assist for a Jonathan Russell, who contributed quite well to equalize 2-2. So he was fiery, he was sharp, he was decisive. He made no waste of his opportunity. He wasn't out of position. Based on my understanding, he was not offside. And he played to his strength. I mean, many persons wanted for Ronaldo Cephas, not in that game, but before, to make better use of, let's say, his passes. Myself as well judge him correctly, but we were proud to say then that Ronaldo Cephas played to his strength. His involvement was high. He held on to the ball quite well. He made the sharp runs that was necessary. He sometimes was on the right, but more so he kept his dominance on the left-hand side, and he created space. When the team was keeping the ball on the right-hand side, he was not out of shape, but he was making himself an available target, whereas if the ball should switch, he was there to get it in his position on the left-hand side. His execution to me was sharp, so his blistering pace wasn't unnoticed. He looked confident, his run was sharp, and his delivery was accurate. As I mentioned earlier out, he made 2 assists. So from the eye test, I mean, Ronaldo Cephas looked confident. He was a constant threat. No debate. Which card would you give him? From my end, Ronaldo Cephas, by no doubt, receive the red card. He was absolutely on fire. Now, a player that we always want in our team, a Jonathan Russell. I am a huge fan, and I have to say hats off to the Jamaica fan base for the support, for those who even selected him. Hats off to Coach Steve McLaren and his men, who gave him the opportunity to let himself be known on the national team's platform. And it wasn't the best game for a Jonathan Russell. I think he played a better game against Trinidad and Tobago. Is it a case that it was because of Trinidad? I would not say that. For me, it was a case then that for the position, I think that he was playing a bit too deep, but it was a case of the previous game. Like, let's say, Casey Palmer had a better game against Trinidad, even Isaac Hayden. So, for Jonathan Russell, scored, and he's not known for pace. I think he played deep enough to support the team, but it wasn't his best position. But going forward, we know what to do, or we're trying to improve the team going forward. His passing wasn't bad. He received a yellow card in the game as well. From the yellow card that he received, I have to say that it was early in the game. That was in the 18th minute. And for him to remain composed, I have to say hats off to him. So he did not play all minutes. He played up to the 83rd minute. He was replaced by Warner Brown because Jamaica wanted to kill the game off, which I had no issue with. The impact score for him, I think it was a 6 out of 10. He scored a brilliant goal, of course, courtesy of the cross that came from Ronaldo Cephas. So he had that striker instinct, or that finishing instinct. Among the midfield threes, I think he was more so the better player doing his role. You can debate with me if you wish to, but he was more so the player who was in. I think Isaac Hayden picked up more so in the latter stage, or in the second half for correction. And Casey Palmer, I was rating him, he would receive the green card. So you know what that means already. So back to John Russell, he was disciplined despite of picking up a yellow card. From a tactical perspective, when Ravel Morrison came onto the pitch, I saw that it gave Jonathan Russell that better off ability then to go more forward, because watching that game, I could then conclude to say then that there's no need to have a Jonathan Russell playing too deep for Jamaica, because to play against higher oppositions with pace, like what we saw Nigeria did in the midfield and all over, keeping most of the ball in their position, we will die in the midfield. Casey Palmer isn't the fastest. Isaac Eden isn't the fastest, and also Jonathan Russell. So slow midfield will contribute to us being on the back foot. So back to what I said about the tactical switch to bring on a Ravel Morrison instead of a Casey Palmer, which was obvious. It proved that it suits Jonathan Russell's games better. And for his involvement, his link-up play with Kyle Dixon was better in Trinidad's game. However, he somewhat struggled in the game against Nigeria off the pace, as I mentioned. But he found himself remaining disciplined, trying to do what was best in terms of his executed level. He remained composed. I think he did not get the chance to create enough chances. He wasn't wasteful, I would say, but he lacks the cutting edge, or he would lack the player who would take the spotlight. So for a Jonathan Russell, you receive a yellow card. You get a yellow card from my end, but it shows that you were holding quite steady. All right, so the next man on the list would be our own, as I've said earlier out from the Globe, a Richard King. This guy possesses leadership ability, and I think not only myself here as a content creator would say that, but it is not a case to say then, given the captain's armband, he needs some more time to get better at his game. He needs more time to become more specialized at his position as a center back. But for Richard King, I think he played aggressive here and there. Sometimes he gets himself in arguments with the opposition teams. And I think he could play it better in that game, but not to judge him too harshly. It was a difficult game. Then again, it wasn't the best Jamaica starting 11. So he prevailed as a player. So for his impact score, I would give him a 7 because defensively, he did fairly well. He was that man who contributed to the team in terms of presence, in terms of confidence. If other persons were low in terms of talking, Richard King may not be talking that much, but you saw that he possesses that leadership ability. Stood his ground quite well against the Nigerian front line. I mean, he was the man who was marking Desir and also Tolu. Tolu was absolutely a beast. He was very much good in terms of his height. He showed that Nigerians playing up front are muscular, powerful, and strong, like Boniface, and they have that leap who can score from the head. So Richard King did fairly well to try his best to restrict those players from scoring an extra goal who could have killed the game and let it be a 3-2 finish. So Richard King, I mean, he anticipated the danger quite well on a few occasions. He did a few long balls, but not much, which I think was wise. And his aggression was too much at points, but it was not all to say then that it would have caused him to receive any cards. So his involvement was moderate. He was the one who built up the play, who was somewhat important to help Jamaica get that goal, whereas he stepped forward, intercept, made the pass to a Cephas who crossed the ball to a Kyle Dixon. So that was absolutely tremendous. In moderation as well, I think, just to say for proper criticism, he was the person who was onside, causing the goal from Simon to score on Jamaica. So he was the one who to be blamed for that goal that Nigeria has scored. But I don't want to press his button too much because he will improve going forward. His execution, he managed defensive pressure quite well, despite Jamaica midfield was lacking edge, that bite that could have absolutely restricted Nigeria from making too much use of our midfield. And I think Jamaica, going forward, I think they will make more use now of a Lewis Baker. I know him to be the player who makes a lot of long balls. He do so on a few occasions, but not much. I think that was smart because Nigeria defense was very much high up the line. They were powerful as well. So to put the ball long, it will not be effective for Borrell Kaim, who was doing well. But, putting the ball long would just give Nigeria that benefit to say then, all right, we're going to keep our lines higher. They play long ball, we can have an offside trap. So that was wise from a Richard King. So from the eye test, I think he showed good composure. He had flashes of leadership, and there's bigger performances to come from him. So the card that I give to this player is going to be the yellow card. All right. So people, what is your say now? Because I believe then from my own understanding, my players, they did fairly well. They did fairly well, and it is for us as Jamaican fans to support them and to give them the necessary upliftment that is well deserved or necessary to help them go forward and progress more on the global stage. So to wrap up things here, I just want to say then that Jamaica has played well, draw against Nigeria in the Unity Cup final, but one player received the red card, which is a Ronaldo Cephas, and two received the yellow card in a Jonathan Russell and a Richard King. So you all take care. Goodbye until we meet again.